Here's one of the latest interviews from Rock and Metal Revival. If you want to hear the whole show, go to rmrshow.com. There's a brand new band called Metaspherical, and that is called Cloth of Autu on Rock and Metal Revival. Dude, a lot of, I don't know how to describe it, man. I just dig the sound coming out of those speakers when I hear that song. Brand new music.
Some good guitar playing, man.
Great guitar
I'm a big
player.
fan of guitar playing, so.
And on the phone with me, with us, I should say, is Jason-Morley from Metaspherical. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Dude, I got to say, I'm totally blown away by your guitar playing. I hear a little bit of classical influence in there. I hear some, the metal riffs. Fantastic job.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Now, how does a project, now there's a lot of different players and from a lot of different bands in this project. How does something like this get started?
Well, it all came together a few years back. I had a very serious brain injury, and after a few years of recovery, I really wanted to get back into playing metal. I really suffered from a lot of different physical ailments, which I had to relearn a lot of guitar, go through a lot of trial and error. But basically, I live in a really small town called Nanaimo on Vancouver Island, and I wanted to get back into playing metal, but couldn't really find the caliber of players to play the music I was envisioning. So it was kind of a shot in the dark, but I've been friends with the drummer Gene Hoagland from Testament since I was a teenager. Since he was living in Vancouver playing with Strappy Young Lad, and I thought it would be a bit of a shot in the dark, but why not just ask him if he had a chance to record a track or two with me just to kind of get the ball rolling. And we laid down some amazing music, and not to elaborate too much about what you're asking, but the project really kind of took on its own destiny from there. A lot of running into situations where I met this person by chance, that person here or there, and it really kind of took on its own destiny and has just really amalgamated into what it is, with just so many great players. And it's I'm really stoked to where we're at now with just releasing this first single through iTunes and Amazon, and I'm sure you've heard about the great work we're doing with the partnership we have with Sweet Relief.
Yeah, and that was my next question. I had heard that you had partnered with Sweet Relief. Explain that to our listeners a little bit.
Well, Sweet Relief is a charity from California which aids working musicians who've been struck down with either physical or mental disabilities. And I mean, really, just after everything I've been through, and this whole project really has, to me personally, it's been about musicians coming together and helping musicians. It made perfect sense to partner with an organization that could bring about help and change to people who've been through similar things that I have myself, and really make it about something good and positive and worthwhile.
Well, you got a very cool guitar style. Using I watched the video, and the way you use your index finger. Do you have to keep your nails certain length, or are you just using calluses on the ends of your fingers and thumbs?
No, I do actually. The style of playing that I have, it kind of originates from I started playing classical guitar when I was a kid, mm-hmm. and kind of used that aspect of my nail, and I don't know. It's just one of those weird, unique things. I kind of never really gravitated towards the pick, and it just kind of came into my own. It's sort of been my own trademark style, if you will, I suppose. But again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, you can hear aspects of classical coming through within that, but that's sort of the origin of that. It's nothing too unique to itself, but yeah.
But then you can't throw picks out to the audience. Can't throw your fingers out there.
No, I guess you can always keep a few picks on a bike stand for good measure. But I hear you.
Now, Jason, earlier you had mentioned that you suffered a brain injury. Can you want to tell us what happened there?
Yeah, let me give you a brief run through. We don't really know 100% what happened. I was found at the bottom of a flight of concrete stairs in a pool of a lot of blood, and we were assuming that I fell down. And basically, there was a hemorrhaging blood clot inside of my head, so they had to remove about a third or more of my skull plate in order to relieve the swelling and the pressure that was going on. So that happened, and a few weeks went by. They kept me in a induced coma. The swelling went down. I had a second surgery. They put my original plate back in, and then let me try to keep this brief. About 3 weeks later, I was rushed back to hospital because I had green pus and different substances coming out of my head, which was, long story short, really due to medical negligence. There was a few infections inside of my head. They had to remove my plate again, which had by this point become very infected, and basically, I was in hospital again for about another month. There was about 4 surgeries over this time where they were just cauterizing a lot of blood cells and trying to rid the infection. They were able to get it about 95% gone, but basically I had to leave the hospital with no skull plate and live my life for about a year and a half, sort of being a danger to myself. Oof. And, they had to see that the infections were going to go, and then about a year and a half later, they put a synthetic enamel plate in there, which is what I have now. And long story short, I think I'm very blessed and I'm very lucky to be here and alive and doing what I am now. And like I said, I'm very stoked and excited that I can be working in the capacity that I am in music, and be blessed and honored to have collaborated and made really great music with people over the last few years, and to be able to partner with Sweet Relief, to be able to give back.
So they didn't have a metal plate available?
No. That's kind of funny, the irony of what I do. But no, today's day and age, we're better off with the enamel plates. It's I get it. Stronger than bone, blah blah blah. Yeah, and it's nice. I don't have to eat when I go through the metal detector at the airport.
Exactly. Hey, Jason, now, how would you describe Metaspherical compared to other bands in the metal genre? I mean,
that's a good question. I mean, like, one of the big goals has been, like, it's a global metal project. We've got players from, India, China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, parts of South America, and it's really been to take the different subgenres of metal from around the world, take aspects of that and sort of fuse it together, and sort of having people from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds, and just trying to bring together as much outside subgenre influence and kind of create something that brings comes into one as a sound. I mean, I remember growing up as a teenager. I can't speak for the whole world, but where I grew up, the metal scene was like very segregated in the sense that you kind of had your group of thrashers over here, your black metal guys, your progressive guys, and growing up, I always liked all of it. Never really understood the walls that kind of came up between people, and just like we all like metal at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. So now, what is the plan for maybe getting out and playing some live dates, or do you see that happening down the road?
I definitely do. We're in talks about the possibility of doing a showcase performance sometime in the new year, and it's not the easiest. I mean, at this point, we have about 25 people signed on to the project, so it's not the easiest thing to get everybody together, but we'd like to get a few of the key players together and perform some of the music in a good capacity. But then, I definitely do see taking it on the road further down that with just a group of 3 or 4 musicians. And the thing that is really exciting to me about that personally is that in a road situation, like I was saying, how this project has just really been about musicians helping musicians and coming together and doing great things. A lot of the musicians involved said, "Hey man, if you're coming on tour and you're coming through my city, let me know. I'll come up, we'll jam." So through the act of touring, I think a lot of really, really great collaborations and improvisations would come about that would just never normally happen outside of it.
Well, I think that would be a great collaboration to happen at something like NAMM.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great thought. Because you just have so many people there at that time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of musicians getting together at NAMM. That would be a great thing to get together and collaborate on. So where do you see this going in the future as far as recording and albums?
Well, that's a really good question. Right now we're promoting our first single, Cloth of Atu, and which we've just released through iTunes and Amazon. We have another song planned in the works to come out in the next month or so, and this project's been in the works for a few years, but with sort of the economic hard times of music, it's been a struggle to come up with the funds to complete work. Basically, we've been toying with the idea for quite a long time of going into a crowdfunding venture to finish, through something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. But we thought that it would be a much better idea to bring out a track and kind of test the waters and just sort of see how people feel about it, than just kind of going cold into something like that. So we're just right now we're trying to promote this as best we can, and so through the purchase of this single, you're helping you're helping to raise the money to complete the record and more tunes, and also partial proceeds from that is going to Sweet Relief to help aid working musicians who've been through hard times. So it's an all-around good thing, but that I hope that kind of sums up where we're at. We're in the works on a lot of things, got a lot of really great musicians on board, and we're just trying to create a bit of awareness right now,
Cool. Well, what I want to know is, you got any songs you're working on that are going to feature the cowbell?
You know what? We actually do.
All right. Cool. We love the cowbell around
here. Yeah, we'll have that one for you soon.
Sweet.
In a few months, I'm sure.
So, Jason, before we let you go, we want you, one more time, tell us where the single's available.
The single's available at iTunes and Amazon primarily, and if you want to check out Metaspherical online, the best place to go is our Facebook page is the most active, just facebook.com/Metaspherical, or you can check out our website, which is Metaspherical.com. And again, thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Jason, I checked out your page too, and on Facebook, and that's where I caught up on your classical guitar playing, and you're just a fantastic guitar player, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you so much.
To catch the whole show of Rock and Metal Revival, all you have to do is check it out on these affiliates. Mega Rock Radio's on Saturdays from 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and on Uncontrolled Noise Tuesdays at 1 a.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on UncontrolledNoise.com. And make sure that you leave them a message and tell them that you found Rock and Metal Revival on their stations. Enjoy this edition of Rock and Metal Revival.